Everybody's favorite lesson is dividing multi-digit numbers using long division. For those of you wanting to write down the standard number, it's 6.ns.2. Okay, so some review of division. When you divide, you take the total, some total number, and you divide by the number of groups, and you'll get the number that are in each group. That's one reason you would divide. Another reason to divide is to take the total number and divide by the number in each group, and that would tell you the number of groups. Notice that these are kind of the same, just with these numbers switched around. The total is always the first number in the division problem. All right. So this is how the division problems are going to be set up. The total number is going to go inside the long division sign, and then whichever other number you know, whether it's the number of groups or the number in each group, that goes outside, and you're going to get an answer, and your answer is called a quotient. Okay? So the answer to a division problem is called the quotient. So, how do you do it? Glad you asked. Here are the steps. The steps are, you've heard it before, Dad. What's the next one? Mother. What's the next one? Sister, brother, and sometimes you need Rover. You need the dog. So just remember, Dad, Mother, Sister, brother, Rover. Okay? It's not really Dad. The D stands for divide. That's the first thing you're going to do in a division problem. And the M doesn't really stand for Mother. It stands for multiply. The S stands for, you guessed it, subtract. The B stands for bring down the next number, if there is one. And the R stands for remainder, if there is no other number to bring down, and if you are allowed to have remainders. So, Dad, Mother, Sister, brother. Easy enough to remember. Oh, and Rover. Easy. I always forget Rover. As you get older, you won't be allowed to have remainders, and I'll tell you about what you do with that. So Dad, Mother, Sister, brother. Rover. That's what you need to remember. So I've written down my letters to help me remember. I forgot Rover again, just like I said I would. Dad, Mother, Sister, brother. Rover. Okay, so we're going to solve this problem here. We're going to find a quotient. We're going to find the answer, the quotient. So 125 divided by 5. 125 is my total. It goes on the inside. 5 is the number I'm dividing by. It goes on the outside. Now, this is hard to write down in steps, so I'm going to explain it as we go. My first step is divide. I have to find a number I can divide by 5. So I look inside and I start at the first number I come to. Can I divide 1 by 5 and get a whole number answer? No, because 1 is less than 5. So I have to find a number that is bigger than 5 to divide. So 1 is too small, but 1 and 2 make 12. 12 is bigger than 5. That's the number I'm going to divide. So what is 12 divided by 5? The other way to say that is, how many times does 5 go into 12? Well, so I have to think, well, it goes in at least one time because 5 times 1 is 5, and that's less than 12. 5 times 2 is 10. That's less than 12. 5 times 3 is 15. That's bigger than 12. So 5 does not go into 12 3 times. That would be too big. It goes into 12 2 times. So 5 goes into 12 2 times. The 2 goes directly above the ones place of 12. Okay? So that's divide. Now I go to my next letter. Dad, Mother. Mother means multiplying. Multiplying is a real mother. So I multiply 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. That's multiplying. Next number, subtract. So 12 minus 10 is 2. Next number, bring down. I have to bring down the next digit. Every time after I subtract, I bring down. So the 5 drops down next to what I had as a remainder, and I got 25. Okay, now I go back to the front again and do the whole thing over again. So 25 divided by 5, 5 goes into 25 5 times, I know that. So that's 5 times 5, so I multiply 5 times 5, it's 25. I subtract, that's right there, and I get, oh, I'm messing up, I get 0, and then I go to bring down, because bring down is the next step, but there's nothing left to bring down. That means I'm done, and there's no remainder. Look, remainder 0, no remainder. So that means my quotient is 25. 125 divided by 5 equals 25. That is the quotient. All right, let's try another one. Since you're in math class anyway, and you're stuck doing math. All right, so I got to remember my letters. Dad, mother, sister, brother. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, the dog, Rover. Okay, first number, total, goes on the inside. Second number goes on the outside. That's the 2. Find a number that I can divide by 2. The first number is a 4. 4 is bigger than 2, so that works. 2 will go into 4 2 times without going over. 2 times 2 is 4. That's divide and multiply. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I'm on subtract. So subtract 4 minus 4 is 0. Bring down. I have a 3. How many times does 2 go into 3? Once. 2 times 1 is 2. Subtract. That's 1. Bring down. There's nothing to bring down, so I've left with a remainder. Okay? So the remainder is 1. So I could say 21, remainder 1. Or I could keep going. If I keep going, I get a decimal answer. Or I could write it as a fraction. Okay? So the easiest thing to do here would be to write a remainder. Second easiest thing is to write it as a fraction. So if I'm writing this as a fraction, I would write 21 and my remainder over the number I divided by. So my remainder was 1, and the number I divided by was 2. So I put the 1 over 2. Now that's something we're going to be working on later. That's a bad 2. And the third way that you can represent this answer, let's see if I can do this quickly. 43 divided by 2. I got 2, 4, brought down the 3. 2 went into 3 once. I end up with this remainder of 1. I can add a decimal point at the end of the 3 because 43 is really 43.0. And I can bring down a 0. That way I can keep dividing. 10 divided by 2 is 5. The decimal gets moved up into the answer, and so it's 21.5, which is the same as 21.5. Okay? So anyway, these two examples we're not using right now. We'll answer with remainders for now until we have to answer with decimals or fractions. Next problem. 465 divided by 19. Okay, this is the last one I'm doing for you, and then you're going to do a classroom example. So, first number goes on the inside. First number goes on the inside, 465 divided by 19. This one's much more of a hassle because I don't know how many times 19 goes into things. So I have to find a number bigger than 19. So 46 is bigger than 19. So how many 19s are in 46? You have to do a little multiplication. And if you do, put it out to the side. Don't scribble it out when you're done. Don't erase it. Leave it over here to the side. You can use it on other parts of the problem. So 19 times 1 is 19. 19 times 2, you may have to multiply that out. That's 38. 19 times 3 is 57. So 57 is too big, so it only goes in 2 times. So remember to put the number, the 2, right above the ones place of what you're going into. So 19 goes, the 19 times 2 is 38. Okay, so far I've divided, I've multiplied, now I got to subtract. 46 minus 38, borrow, so I get an 8. Bring down, 5, repeat, maybe that's what the R is for. 19 into 85. Okay, so now I know it's not 1, 2, or 3. So 19 times 4 is 76. I'm good at doing that in my head, aren't I? 19 times 5 is 50 plus 45. That's 95. That's too big. So it's going to be this one right here. So 85 divided by 19, I'm dividing right now, is 4, because that's 76. When I subtract, I borrow, that makes 7. 15 minus 6 is 9, and I'm left with 9. So it's either 24 remainder 9, or, I'm going to put it down here, 24 and 9/19, or I could add a decimal point and a 0 and keep going. And this one may keep going on forever, I don't know. 19 goes into 90 4 times, because it's not 5. 5's too big. And that would give me a remainder of 4. It's going to go on for a long time. So anyway, there's the answer. And time for you to do a classroom example. 623 divided by 8. Good luck.